That's right. This is Bad Weather Fans episode number 35, which is ironically the number of times I've heard Russell Westbrook's rumor name being brought up, going to your New York Knicks. All right,
Oh,
Alex. Thank you
yes.
everybody for coming on this podcast. We have a great interview coming up at the second half of this with Andrew Claudio. He is the podcast host of The Final Score. We'll talk a little Nets, Knicks, draft, and of course Russell Westbrook. So, Alex, good to see your face this early in the morning. Are you into Westbrook to the Knicks?
I am, as long as it is a salary dump. If you have followed me on Twitter, you'll see the last 24 hours I've been tweeting nonstop at Nick Central have been about Russell Westbrook because some people want to think he's Dennis Smith Jr., which he is not even close to Dennis Smith Jr. People are ridiculous making videos like that or posting things like comparing him to that or saying he sucks. The guy was 27, 7, and 8 last year. He got to the second round of the playoffs with the Rockets. And, I just think to call him a loser and to say he sucks is absolutely absurd. It just shows that people on Twitter only follow videos that are like joke Twitters about like joke videos. Excuse me. I sound like
I know what you mean.
Get on the Twitters, joke videos about him bricking threes and this, and listen to Skip Bayless and you know what I mean, like, or Russell Westbrook. Like, yeah, he's not a good shooter. Yeah, he's been he might be on the back end, but I think adding him to the mix with the Knicks and having him be like that guy that's a mentor, maybe in the back end of his career, he can be like change his game a little bit or just his mentality a little bit with the guys, knowing that if he comes here to the Knicks and he can turn this franchise around and even just make them relevant, his legacy will be cemented. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's already got the MVP. His legacy will be cemented if he can do that. If he can, I want guys like that around RJ and Mitch who are going to be like, mentally stimulating in that aspect where it's like, like stop playing Fortnite, stop doing this dumb crap. Let's go to the gym. Let's win. Like, stop this stuff, So
I'm fascinated. I don't like, I'm somewhere in the middle. I don't think Russell Westbrook is as bad. First of all, say that name 10 times fast. Very difficult. Russell Westbrook. I don't think he's as good as you're making him out to be, and I don't think he's as bad as the media or whatever this Russell Westbrook is
little
making
kid
it out to
be.
I don't think the two parts. One, I don't want him on the Knicks personally, even because they'll get better immediately. That's right. For sure. And personally, I know that let me say this, if Russell Westbrook's on the Knicks this year, it's better for this podcast. There's no doubt about it. It makes this a lot more fun because the Nets are going to be interesting. They are. The Knicks are going to be boring. Okay. Like boring you're going to watch
unless RJ takes the next step.
Right. And I'm just being honest. If Westbrook's on this team, then the Knicks are going to be more fun. I get that. And that annoys me. But for the podcast,
it's still your attention that you've been loving for the last year.
I mean, like, let's be real. Like Durant Westbrook would be fun. I mean, it'd be fun games. I mean, that'd be fun games. I don't, my question is one, I find it fascinating, your love affair for him and like that he's like works hard and he goes fast and he's like to me,
he does.
I'm like that, but that you're in love with that. I think we could go on a deeper route, and this is taking us back to like why you'd like John Starks, and it's like making you think because of your past history. And I always try to put myself in somebody else's shoes. So I think because of your past history with the Knicks in the 90s and how tough they were, it's making you have this disillusion that Russell Westbrook's that kind of guy. And I don't know if him coming here is going to give you the same satisfaction that you think it will. Definitely will in the short term. So my worry here, and we're in lockstep about the dump thing. Like, it's only for a dump.
Only a salary dump.
If it's going to be picks and RJ and Mitch, first, like, ugh. So you got a couple more wins, and then you're really screwed. Like, bad.
I wouldn't even do that for Chris Paul. No picks, no young players.
I'm with you.
The main young players. Yeah.
But here's the worrisome part. Like, let's say it even is with a dump. Okay. And the Knicks get Westbrook, and then they're way more competitive. And the East is going to be very good. So I don't even know if that's a lock they make the playoffs, but they're definitely in the mix in the conversation. So he then at 35 in 3 years is declined because he loses his athletic ability, and Westbrook's not going to be the same player once his athletic ability is gone. He relies on that because, like we've talked about, he can't shoot well. Then when he's at his decline, your guys that are you hoping for are at their peak in RJ and Mitch, and it feels like the match didn't come at the right time, as opposed to if you had, let's say, Mitch and RJ are great players or very good players because of development, and now you have Westbrook where he is now. That to me is a fit, but it just feels like the ships are going to cross, and that could be a bigger problem for the Knicks in the future.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair to say. I mean, you know, I don't really have a response to that. Just a very good point. I mean, you know, you never know. That's the risk. But like,
Sure.
at some point, I need to, and this is the guy to do it in a salary dump deal only, because I'm not giving up my draft picks. You know, hey, I'm with draft
Yeah.
picks. They're like my children. I'm not touching them unless I'm getting like, you know, Giannis. You know what I'm saying?
You
Like
trade your
that's just
child
not.
for Giannis?
Yes, I would. No, I'm just kidding. Hypothetically, I
I
don't have
feel
a child,
you.
so I would trade my dog for Giannis. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. No, I love Ruby.
I know
Anyway,
what you're saying.
so so anyway, so you threw my whole thought process off.
Sorry.
What was I saying? What was I saying?
You were talking about how
you
you wouldn't make the salary. It's only a salary dump. You're not giving up the
only
young
salary.
picks, et
Oh,
cetera.
this is where I was going.
Yeah.
I got it. So, you know, I just want to get rid of in the right deal, get rid of this negativity, the aura of losing that everybody, like these reporters and fans are like, yeah, but if we get Westbrook, it's going to kill our draft pick next year. Fuck the draft pick, bro. Like, enough. Fuck it. Like, stop fucking trying to worry about a goddamn lottery pick already. Let's win some goddamn games. And this is the guy that can do that for us right now. He can get rid of us. We haven't been in the playoffs the next round of years. We haven't won a playoff series the next round of years. We haven't done this and their record is this bad in this amount of years. Just get this guy here. He can get rid of that aura. He can take the bullets for RJ and Mitch and Ntilikina and these kids that and the new draft picks that are coming in that we don't know who they are. They could be superstars stepping in right now. You don't know. Get rid of that stuff and take the bullets. And you never know what can happen for a salary dump deal only, because if you have your draft picks and you have Russell Westbrook, maybe you can like deal those picks if you can to get something to put together with these guys. If you're your 8th pick or your 26th pick or whatever the fucking pick is, you know, if you get those guys in and you can, and you don't know, like, it's like people are acting like Russell Westbrook. It's more of, like I said, it's the mentality. It really is, because these kids have been around nothing but losing and a terrible culture. I'll say it, a terrible culture around the Garden. Terrible. And it's been so bad that people come in and expect to lose. I was reading up on Steve Francis recently because people are unfairly comparing him to Steve Francis, who was an ex-drug dealer and had a drinking problems out of the NBA by 30 years old because he had his own personal problems. Russell Westbrook is a model citizen family man that hasn't done anything wrong in his career off the court. So, you know, if you're going to compare him to Steve Francis, that's completely unfair. So I was reading up on Steve Francis, and he said when he got to the Knicks, on his Player Tribune article, when he got to the Knicks, he went into the locker room. He's like, we are going to suck. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want my guys coming into the locker room saying we're going to suck. I want a guy looking at me like, oh my God, I need to come to play today because Russell Westbrook's going to fuck me up if I don't. Like, you know what I mean? I want my guys to come there. And I'm done. I'm done with this losing, man. I'm done. And this is the guy to do it. I'm telling you, it's the guy to do it with the mentality. I have a feeling about it. I'm telling you, and I'm never wrong.
I think your 90s Knicks love has infiltrated your brain into thinking this is going to recreate that lore and that magic.
It's not about that though.
I know. I'm giving you shit. Do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think trading for Russell Westbrook gets the Knicks to a title faster?
I think it could, but not with him, if that makes any sense.
Get you, what's your ultimate goal as a Knicks fan? Is it to be relevant?
Of course, to win a title. Of course.
Is it to have people at the Garden go, wow, look at there's Bobby Flay in the front row. This is great. Is your goal to win a championship, be relevant, or have fun? I can't blame you if your goal right now.
I want to win a championship.
So does Russell Westbrook get you? Does trading for him in the salary dump scenario? Because I would say in the other ones, clearly
other ones not doing it. Done.
But I'm curious, in your mind, does getting a deal for Russ with a salary dump, if it's Frank, if it's Julius Randle, and it's probably gonna have to be one pick, you're gonna have to probably put a pick in there. You can't do it without a pick.
I'm not doing it then. Forget it. I'm not doing it.
I'll even eliminate the pick. Does getting Russell Westbrook in a Knicks uniform today make them have a better chance to win a title, whatever that date is in the future?
Yes, because let's say they hit on these picks. Let's say RJ takes a step because he was coming on at the end of the year. I know nobody wants to believe that. They're just like, oh, he didn't make the all rookie team. He sucks. He doesn't suck. He was starting to really turn it on. And so is Mitch Robinson. And then they're going to have a really good coach now. And they have like a 75 assistant coaches that can help them. And like they're going to like be better. And they were better with Mike Miller. And if people paid attention, besides just watching ESPN or all these hacks that are just want to make these jokes that they suck, they were getting better. And like if they can just understand that with good coaching and a superstar that holds them accountable, that's not the coach, it's going to make them better. And that's why not better and better long-term, even if in the short term they don't win a championship with Westbrook, it'll make them better long-term because they're learning from an actual superstar that they looked up to when they were kids.
I don't know. I think you're putting too much stock in how much people are going to really like playing with him. I think I always, like, when I would ever watch Russell play, I was like, oh my God, this guy's nuts. Like he's He scares me. He plays well.
I love it.
He attacks. But there was something missing that didn't. I don't know. It doesn't like I think I take a lot of stock in the fact that the Thunder got Chris Paul and like totally got better. I mean, we're a better just complete
Rockets
team.
Rockets got the second,
and then Rockets got and it was just like. It was just it was a weird fit, and with Houston, they went with some. It just was a strange.
Yeah, it was weird, and then they got
the whole
Tucker
thing was
center.
weird. The whole thing was weird. The D'Antoni vibe. It was a weird vibe there. But I saw what happened with Chris Paul in Oklahoma, and they got better. I mean, people liked playing with him. I know there's a lot of shit people talking about Chris Paul, and he's had some downside things that happened when he was on the Clippers. And there are people
the Rockets too. Him. He wanted out from the Rockets also.
Oh, yeah, he's not. I'm not making him out to be. Right. He's not this.
So it's not just Russ that wanted to get away from Harden. No, it was also Chris Paul.
Right,
he was like, "Get me out of here." Dwight Howard also. It's like, "Get me the hell out of here."
I saw what he did in Oklahoma, man, and they got better. And my biggest fear for you as a Knicks fan would be when Russell Westbrook's athletic ability goes, and he's 32, and kudos to the Rockets for wishing him happy birthday the day all the bullshit went down on Twitter, which was hysterical. But when his athletic ability goes, dude, he's not gonna be good. And then you're banking on him being this level of a player when you don't have the pieces around him. And like I said before, when I started this, and it's a risk. And if you feel that this is the risk that you take to build culture and get the Knicks to get more dudes coming in and being a good place to be, I totally understand that. I'm a big believer in that, obviously, with this team. The Nets, if you're listening. But I'm just saying, if he comes in and he's shot out of a cannon and he's awesome in his first year, and then RJ and Mitch they're not a team that's going to compete for a championship. And then all of a sudden he declines, and your other players, knock on wood for you, get better. You miss the sweet spot, and it's done. That's
fine. But that's fine. Then your kids are still 20 years old, 22 years old, and then you're fine. And then you move on from Westbrook, and you build around the kids who learned and were able to play in the playoffs and gain experience and grow and whatever. And
but what if you don't have Westbrook and you have higher draft picks and you get younger players that are good, and then when they're good, and then you got these younger guys, and then the sweet spot meshes? I know you're rolling your eyes. I'm giving you the scenarios, because the truth is, if Russell Westbrook is on the Knicks, they're going to be a better team. You might miss this. So I'm just giving you the scenario of where people are coming from.
It's also hypocritical, not by you, but like the majority of people, because you laid it out perfectly. Where you're worried about. You're not saying he's going to suck when he comes to the Knicks. You're worried about the talent levels aligning at the right time.
Because it's about a title. It's about it.
Right.
It's about. But I'm not saying that's what, like my point is, and I know you put this on Twitter. You're like, everybody's making fun of Kevin Durant. He's 32.
That's where I was going.
Achilles. But the point is, like, Durant, first of all, is a better player than Russell Westbrook is.
But he hasn't played in a year and a half.
True. But he's an all-time great. But
everybody assumes he's just going to be great. He's coming back. He's going to be great. Like, how do you know? Like, you know what I mean? Everybody thinks Russell's going to suck, but he's been playing.
No, I know. This is the Nick anger coming out. That's what I'm saying.
Let me stop.
Durant's an all-time great player. Pre-injury, he's a surefire Hall of Famer. You can put him in the power forward, best of all time, whatever position. He's in those conversations. He's better than Larry Bird. Whatever you want to do. He's that good of a player. Okay?
He's in the conversation.
So he's that good of a guy. But the timing with Durant and like the Nets roster is deep. So it's like it's aligned for them. Like Karis LeVert is what you want RJ Barrett to become. LeVert's just gotten there. Kyrie Irving, a lot of question marks, but he is an established superstar. He's there. Dinwiddie, Harris, Allen, DeAndre, Prince. They've got a bench. They've got depth. So you're right. There are a lot of question marks with Durant, and we'll find out. And I'm excited that we actually get to find out. I'm very thrilled about that.
We think.
But Westbrook's coming to it. It feels like to me, in the short term, which I don't want them to do the trade, because in the short term they are going to be better, and I'm in the mood for them to just be shitty forever.
And just the Nets get the center of attention.
I just hate the Knicks. Okay, I just despise them. Or
like, it's funny, the sun came down. If you're watching on YouTube, the sun came down right as you said that, so it seemed like you were like talking to God, like God was coming down and speaking.
So I understand that. Okay, I never want them to be good. It's just like it feels like with Durant, a lot of question marks. You're right, but at least it's like it's in line with where they are.
But we also don't know what the Knicks are going to do otherwise, besides the Westbrook deal. We don't know what these picks are going to be. We don't know who they're going to trade for this offseason. We don't know who they're going to sign.
Sure, a lot of questions.
We don't know. So everybody's just assuming it's just going to be Westbrook plus RJ and Mitch the way they were last year at their talent level, and then
they'll be better. They should be. And if they're not better, And if they don't improve, then you have bigger issues.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's why I didn't want Kenny Atkinson on your damn staff.
Well, well, at least we have Thibodeau or Thibodeau or Tibbs or Thibs, whoever knows.
Yeah.
But anyway, so let's get to the poll question before we get to Andrew's interview, Andrew Claudio interview. Excuse me. What is wrong with me? I'm getting too. See, you got me all hyped up, man. Like I'm always cursing and yelling.
Don't blame me. You got yourself hyped up. Now
my
Leon's
cat, man. Your cat's getting attacking you.
Okay, yeah, watch out.
Yeah, watch us on YouTube too. If you're listening to this, we're gonna post this as well. So it's Bad Weather fans on YouTube. So anyway, so here's the poll question of the week. Knicks fans, regarding a potential Knicks Rockets Russell Westbrook trade, what should they do? Salary dump deal only, give up whatever it takes to get him, stay away no matter what, or yes, but reasonable offer only. What do you think won, and what do you think should win?
I love the. Can you just say those one more time for me? There's one that was funny. Can you read them?
Salary dump deal only. Give up whatever it takes. Stay away no matter what, with an exclamation point. Yes, but reasonable offer only.
I like the third one you had because it sounds like what you tell your teenager, like when they're out. Read it one more time. Sorry, just one more time.
Stay away no matter. Oh no, salary dump deal only.
The third.
Give up whatever it takes.
One.
Stay away no matter what.
Right. You're like, it sounds like you're talking to your kid. Like, you do not go to that person's house. I don't care.
That's how fans have to talk to the Knicks organization sometimes.
You know I mean? Like, I'll go.
Don't you dare, like Oladipo or Aaron Gordon. Don't you dare, Knicks, do anything like that.
Jeez.
Stay away.
Like, that was the Spencer. That was the Spencer Dinwiddie rumor since before. I don't know, forever. I would say the dump one. Only the first one. Only in a dump.
Well, you're taking a dump. Yeah. So so number one was stay away no matter what at 36.9%. Salary dump deal only and yes, but reasonable offer tied at 30.1%. And then give up whatever it takes came in last at 2.9%. So nobody really wants to just go all in on Russell Westbrook.
You nervous about the Hornets getting in on this?
What was that?
You nervous about the Hornets getting in on this?
The Hornets? No, honestly, if they want to, Hornets want to give up, I mean, if the Rockets want to trade Russell Westbrook for what is it, Zeller, whichever Zeller it is, I don't remember, and Rozier and Batum, then you guys fucking go ahead, do what you got. I don't care. You know what I mean? As long as the Knicks are getting him in a salary dump deal, it makes sense. That's the only time it makes sense. If they want to do that, then God bless. You know
my fucking Twitter timeline is just you. It's like, oh my god.
My friends tell me that all the time. My
so
friends
annoying.
who aren't big on Twitter, they have like 50 followers or whatever. They're just like a normal person on Twitter. They're like, every time I log on Twitter, all I see is your fucking tweets.
I know it's a lot, Alex. It's annoying. I'm not saying
right.
It's just like I go, here's what you missed. Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook. Oh,
listen, I'm interested.
Biden gets Georgia. I mean, that was it.
All right, so let's give some fan shout outs and what they said on the poll question. So we have this is Knicks fans don't cheat. He's at SKB1ER. He goes, people need to understand that we have the leverage here. No major assets should be given up. So it's kind of like me. Then we have Jack with a rose, and he goes, he's at Mets troll. So he goes Randall and a pick. Okay, I'm not giving up a pick. Nope. Then we have Sam. He's at Sam the Man 2024. He goes, stay away from him in all caps. Then we have, you'll like this one. Then we have Gip, G-I-P-P. He's at Gip Johnson. He goes, new poll. There's a turd floating in the pool. At what point do you still go for a swim? So he does not agree with
Caddyshack,
I guess. So that's, that's where we're going out today with before the Andrew interview. And I honestly, I just think I get more mad, and that's why I fire away more tweets when people just totally dismiss Westbrook as he is trash and as the Knicks should never do it. It'll ruin the entire franchise, and they're going to suck forever if they do it. It's so Knicks. The Knicks have never had a so Knicks move like this before, where they gave up no draft picks for a player.
Right.
They Amari Stoudemire they signed. He had bad knees, but they had the amnesty in their pocket. They just wasted it on Billups. They needed to change they had to get somebody in 2010.
That contract
from that last year.
That contract would scare me though a little.
It would. No, it definitely would. And I wish it wasn't the super max. I wish it was just like a regular max. But
that could be if he here's the issue. If he gets bad and he's at the end of that max, the Knicks are fucked.
Yeah. Well, if they have a team full of young rookies and draft picks, and that's just what they are, and they just have this guy who's there, and I mean that's gonna suck, but it's a risk. At some point, you have to try to fucking win. Like at some point, you have to be like, oh no, let's tank next year. Maybe there's this kid who's like 110 pounds, who's dunking on ESPN in a high school game. Let's dunk. Let's go get him. Like, dude, chill the fuck out. We got the Mavs pick. They're gonna be in the lottery most likely. We got the Knicks pick, and even if the Knicks are in the lottery, whatever. You got 2 first round picks. You got 2 seconds. You got some some first in the future. Make a move, do something, try to fucking win. Like I know you got these draft picks, but like just take your picks and see what happens, and let's relax.
Bad Weather Fans.
RELAX.
Bad Weather Fans, episode 35. Alex is going to try to relax. We have an interview coming up here. It's Andrew Claudio, podcast Final Score. We'll talk a little Nets. We'll talk a little Knicks. We'll also talk about the NBA draft coming up. Maybe Russell Westbrook. Westbrook's name will pop up.
I think that's a you problem. I don't have a problem saying Westbrook.
Say it 10 times right now. Go.
Russell Westbrook. Yeah, you're right. I guess you got me. Yeah. But, I could say it once. I mean,
Andrew Claudio coming up.
Or just say Russ.
It's Bad Weather Fans with Mike and Alex.
Christmas Day, noon time, Knicks, Nets, Russell Westbrook and, Halliburton and RJ and Mitch and Joe Harris versus the Nets and Kyrie and Durant.
Harris. First, let's meet the visiting New York Knicks. Wow.
An empty crowd. I just hope we can go to game soon. That's what I hope for. Really. Hope we get this vaccine as works and we can get this done.
All right, Alex. Anyway, here's our guest. It's Andrew Claudio.
Here's Andrew.
That's right. It's Bad Weather Fans, and we've got a special guest on the line here with Alex and myself. It's Andrew Claudio. He's got some great podcasts. You can find him on The Final Score, of course, with Andrew Claudio. That's on Overtime Media. He's also the producer of Knicks Film School, Twitter at Andrew J. Claudio _ Andrew, thank you for coming on Bad Weather Fans, and we'll get a little draft, talk a little Nets Knicks. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you guys for having me. I was joking around that this is early for me on a Saturday morning, but I don't think there is a time that's too early to help Alex shift the balance of power on this podcast. We need to put these Nets fans in their place, Alex.
Right.
Getting ridiculous. One good offseason with the guy with one leg, and all of a sudden,
seriously,
the city's under new management. Ooh, I'm so
right.
scared.
And the arrogance that's coming out of them about Joe Harris.
Right?
That's getting out of hand.
Yeah,
I think it's awesome.
How hilarious is it going to be when Joe Harris signs with us this offseason, where Leon Rose pulls that coup? Looking for ballots in Pennsylvania.
Mike's already getting mad.
Well, there's no shot Joe Harris is signing with the Knicks. First of all, I mean, and I'll give you a couple of reasons. One, he's a foodie, so he's going to stick to Brooklyn because he knows where to get the good meals. Two, the practice facility is in Brooklyn. He lives by the practice facility. So the thought that this guy is going to get in his 2018 Volvo and drive all the way out to Westchester, give me a fucking break. No shot in hell. I'm sorry.
After the Knicks pay him, he won't be having a Volvo anymore, right? You know what I mean? He'll be upgrading that car.
I also think you're underestimating Westchester, sir. That's spoken like somebody that's never been to Tarrytown, New York.
That's fair. That's a fair point. I could see Joe Harris making the switch. Everything that's gone on, he's like, wow, that breakfast spot in Tarrytown, I've never had a bagel that good in my life. I got to make the move.
See, now he's coming to our side, Alex. See,
it's
5 minutes in, we've already convinced him. There you go.
That was easy.
Yeah.
So Andrew, I know you're bigger. Mike and I, we're into the draft, but not as into it as seems like you guys and your guys have been on your podcasts and stuff like that. So well,
hold on. Let me pause you because I'm one of those these are kids.
Really?
So I follow the draft, and I just had Spencer Perlman on my pod, which is
that's
ironic. To not talk about the draft, I more wanted to find out. So it was the final interview. I usually every week I do one where how did you get into the industry interview.
Okay.
And so we had Spencer Perlman on, and I wanted to give him a break from rehearsing the same talking points that he's been doing. And so we asked him about his I say we, it was more than just me. I asked him about his interest in basketball and how he started doing it. And at the end is where I dove in. Most of my draft knowledge really comes from his Twitter account and producing Macari's pod, where he had Desmond Bain on. So I feel like that's the extent of my expertise. But at this point, I'm very ready for this draft to happen because this is a very mediocre draft. We've been talking about it for an extra 4 months.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we've been talking about, where we're just tired of it. It's not a big draft in the first place. It's not a very high talent level draft in the first place. And we've been as a Knicks fan, you had to wait since March 13th for this to happen in November. It's out of control.
Yeah.
So anyway,
where do you think the Knicks go at pick 8, or what are you hoping they land with? Obviously, it feels like to me there's 3 dudes, and then the rest is kind of like recycle. We'll see what happens. I mean, like all of us, I think we're all Googling names to find out more information about these guys.
Yeah.
What would you like to happen, and what do you think happens with the Knicks at 8, which, by the way, are just 11 spots higher than the Nets, who got that pick from the Sixers in a savvy trade by Sean Marks? But go ahead on the Knicks.
Bravo to Sean Marks. I'm not going to denigrate how good of a job he's done with the Nets. I would like the Knicks to draft Kyra Lewis Jr. I'm not even saying that he's like the pick at 8. This seems like very much a from 4 through 13 could be the best player in the draft. Like I hear so many people talk about how LaMelo Ball's the most talented, but he very easily could be the 5th best player in this draft.
Mhm.
That Poku could be the best player, that Okoro could be the best player. So I would be fine if the Knicks landed with Kyra. I'd be fine with Devin Vassell. I think I was listening to his coach went on Knicks Film School's pod, and I mean that I want that dude to also like you should get him to interview to intro your pod, because he will hype you up better than anybody has ever. I want him to introduce me for the rest of my life. That's how good of a hype man that coach was, and almost sold me that this guy, that Vassell, wasn't just gonna be a good pick for the Knicks, but that he'll be better than LeBron in 3 years. That's how much hype he sold me on.
You were ready to go sign up as a freshman and go play for
like
him,
I
right?
got 4 years of eligibility. I'm ready to run through a wall for you, dude. Personally, I'm way less concerned about what the Knicks do and more worried about what they won't do. I'm more interested in them not doing something than doing something in this draft. If anything, just make 3 picks and go home, and don't trade assets for the 2 pick. Don't, dear God, trade for Russell Westbrook. And I know this could get somewhere, Alex. We can get there.
Yes.
But I would like to leave with either 3 picks, or they trade those back to the late Clippers pick and the 2nd round pick up so they can get Cole Anthony. That's like the most creativity I'd like them to get. Don't trade anything from next year's draft. Don't trade any players to move up 3 spots in a mediocre draft. Just make a pick at 8, make a 2nd and 3rd pick, and I will be fine.
Right. And Kira, what is it? Kyra, Akira? I don't know how to pronounce it.
I think it's Kira, or see, that's the best part about this draft is this is one of the highly touted prospects, and we don't know how to pronounce his name.
Well, quickly, is it Thibodeau or Thibodeau?
It's Thibodeau, right?
We never know.
Now I don't know. I'm scared. It's Tibbs.
Pick your own adventure with Coach.
Tibbs or Thibs. Who knows?
No, it's Tibbs. I'm not pronouncing his name. He hasn't won anything from me yet. Do not know how to learn his name yet.
Yeah,
I think we used to know how to say his name, but I personally just keep forgetting, and then I've gotten in Alex's head, and now he's making the mistake. So this is 100% on me, and I don't want to get any of the blame on Alex. This is all on me for not knowing how the hell to say his name and getting it confused back and forth and everything surrounding that. So I get the sense that for the Knicks, don't not even worth trading up. Don't try to get up into one of those top 3. Take your pick. Fingers crossed. In 2026, you can root for this team to be good. Hopefully they develop.
There's no sure thing in this draft is what we keep hearing. And everybody that's compared this draft to past drafts, they're saying like this is the Giannis draft all over again, where we're not really crazy about anybody in the top 4 or 5, and the best pick could be the 14th pick, So why would you trade assets to move up when there's no certainty?
Well, hopefully it's not the 19th pick. You know what I mean? The best pick.
Right.
So,
Dear God, if like watch Cole Anthony go to Brooklyn and he makes the game-winning shot against the Lakers in Game 7.
I wouldn't be surprised too. This is just gut instinct. If the Nets were to trade out of that pick to try to save on the money aspect,
get a rotational player.
Well, just save on the money, because my biggest fear as a Nets fan right now is, and we joke about Joe Harris, but the Nets are going to be in luxury tax hell. So if they sign Joe, I mean, Joe Tsai is going to have to sign a check for $50 million because of the luxury tax. So that scares me a little bit. That's like the only thing that's giving me a little hesitation on the re-signing of Joe, is if they get cheap all of a sudden.
Well, knowing that this window, I'm not even like trying to knock the Nets here. Like it's a 2-year window we're talking about with what Katie and Kyrie are on. Yeah. So wouldn't he be like, you'd know this better than I would. Is he okay with just going to the luxury tax for 2 years?
I think we're gonna find out. I guess that's the point. I mean, I don't write checks for $50 million. Like he's worth X billion dollars, but like I write a check for $27 because I have to pay get my cat kitty litter, and I'm freaking out. So I don't know what it's like to spend $50 million. So fingers crossed on that. But again,
he's not Steve Cohen. I mean,
that's what I was saying. My brain is so very much like the Mets owner's willing to spend.
We'll find out.
Jacob deGrom money on art.
Yeah. So
we'll find out. On art.
Hopefully he's willing to spend too. I wouldn't be so. There's no world where the Knicks and Nets trade, where the Knicks want to trade up to 19 and they trade them the Clipper pick and their second round pick, right?
There's no chance that these two teams make a trade at this
But
point.
that's
Nowhere.
it. It's not that
No
the trade
chance.
wouldn't make sense. It's that the Knicks and Nets can't
No
do business.
chance.
It's Mets
No
Yankees.
chance. The Knicks
Okay,
would have to kill the Nets in a trade. It would have to be a landslide where the Knicks would have to say yes in order for them to do something like that. At
There's
this point, I think Dolan's too sensitive, and I think the Knicks fans are too sensitive. There's no chance. That's like a Mets and Yankees trade. Like it never happens unless it's like a low-level prospect. You know what I mean? It's just it's not going to happen.
Have the Knicks and Nets ever made a deal? I'm trying to think if they're
not one I can remember.
Not that I can think of.
Sure, there's one in the 80s when we didn't have
Keith Van
Twitter.
Horn. How did the Knicks get Keith Van Horn?
He was a
Sixers. The Sixers.
Oh,
I'll give you the Keith Van Horn, lineage if you'd like, and I'll give you the numbers he had during the whole time.
Nothing's more interesting than that. Let me tell you.
No, I won't. We won't do that either. But looking at this draft on a whole, from a Warriors perspective, let me ask you this. I find it curious. Could you see them making the move to try to get veterans in there, or are they going to get locked in with that number 2 pick and where they go from there?
This really was the worst draft for them to get, like to go full tank for a season. And like this, if this is a year later and they're tanking and I'm saying a year later, like Cade Cunningham is sitting there, like you just said, if it was a year earlier and Ja Morant is their pick at 2, and meanwhile Steph and Clay are sitting a season while Ja makes a run with them. I think they'll go Wiseman because everybody says the fit makes sense for them him at 2. He could fill right into that that Bogut role that they've been missing. That's why Mitchell Robinson has been talked about. If the Knicks want to trade up to 2, because he'd be perfect for the Warriors. A big man that can protect the rim and doesn't need the ball. Just Clay and Draymond and Steph throwing alleys to him all day. Like that, a player like that would make the most sense. I think you mentioned the luxury tax, and from everything you hear, Joe Lacob is kind of done paying the luxury tax, and especially if there's not going to be fans in the stands this year. This new arena that's so they're losing money every time they host a game when they have that arena open, so they might have to take a step back as well. I would be shocked if in this draft, because it seems like there's enough smart teams, because we've had an extra 4 months to talk about this draft, that realize that this isn't the draft to make a trade up to number 2. So I'd be shocked if they don't just take whether it be LaMelo or Wiseman at 2, or even Anthony Edwards at 2, and then hold on to him like they did with D'Angelo. And it's an asset play. Like if someone wants them later, we can make a trade later. But as of right now, we'll start the season and see what happens.
For me, I think the Warriors, they should jump in and take Toppin if they really want to win now. He's 22 years old, and they don't have to wait for him. Like you always have to wait 3 years or 2 years for a rookie to really step in, unless you're like the special kind of player like Morant or Zion got hurt, but he stepped in, he was fine. I think you need a guy like that who's just going to step in, because the Warriors aren't going to, Draymond, Clay, and Dre. Steph, Dre, and Clay, they're not sitting around waiting for Wiseman to grow up. You know what I mean? And he hasn't played. He didn't play a full season of college. He didn't even play part of the abbreviated college season. It's kind of like you're not going to wait around for this guy. You know what I mean? So either and I do think that the Wolves should go Anthony Edwards at 1. Also, I don't understand the LaMelo and D'Angelo pairing. That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
We're in smokescreen season, unfortunately, and with this draft where there's so much, like, this guy might go here, this might go there. Everybody's trying to bluff, and as a result, this poker game sucks. So that
and it's gone too long. It's too long.
That's the thing. We're all like the Warriors, if they want to go top, and I think that's why you keep hearing that they want to trade down, because they know he shouldn't be the number 2 pick in the draft, and they just also can't find a trade partner, because everybody's like, we don't want to trade up in this draft. So
and nobody wants to help the Warriors either become a dynasty. Like keep going. They had enough of them.
Yeah, I agree.
But anyway, let's get into the elephant in the room, the Russell Westbrook stuff. Me personally, as you know, we follow each other on Twitter at Nick Central, and you're Andrew J. Claudio, right?
Yeah, underscore. There's a long story about that underscore.
A lot of underscores. Okay. Long story.
My old account got hacked, and so it's one of those things where my old account got hacked, and I didn't have my email alerts linked to my I didn't have my email or my phone number connected to my old account because I was previously at a blog called Gotham Sports Network and I had a Gotham email set up there. So they were sending like, here, reset your password to this email account that's been deactivated. It's like, well, I can't access that. What are we doing? And so I just decided to relaunch the
oh, that sucks.
Relaunch the Twitter with an underscore.
So underscore
yes, let's discuss your desire to be the 7th seed for
I don't have the desire. So what it is for me, as you've seen on Twitter, is I would take him, and we talked about already, Mike and I would take him in a salary dump deal only. You're giving up like a second round pick. You're giving up maybe Julius Randle or just like, then just whatever trash that you don't need. Not RJ, not Mitch, I mean, we'll see. Just those two and all your draft picks. Don't give up any of those people, and you keep your flexibility draft-wise with capital, and you can make trades, or you can hopefully hit on these picks and draft the next Donovan Mitchell, draft the David Lee at the end of the first round, draft Rudy Gobert at the end of the first round. You know what I mean? Maybe that happens, and you have Russell Westbrook with these guys, and RJ and Mitch can develop. Everybody's like, oh well, they'll just be the 7th seed and the 5th seed, and then you're gonna lose, and that's it. But you don't know. Like a lot of people, not you personally, but a lot of people don't account for young players getting better year by year, because it does happen. And, Mitchell has gotten better year by year, and RJ did start to turn it on towards the end of the season. And I do think that adding Russell Westbrook there, it's not just his talent and his contract, which sucks. I get it. But not just his talent, it's his mentality that turns me on. It's his desire, his hustle, the way he is, and he's 100 miles per hour all the time. They need a guy like that around that's going to be like, these guys watched him in middle school when they were kids. They were watching Russell Westbrook in the finals. You know what I mean? So like, this is a guy they can look up for. I know Marcus Morris took Frank under his wing, but he's Marcus Morris. You know what I mean? Like Julius Randle, he's Julius Randle. You know what I mean? Like this is a guy who's MVP, averaged a triple double the first time in a million years. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the kind of guy I want at the guard. And your thoughts?
So I will say, Russ has become criminally underrated at this point, and it's a shame because I was like, I understood Katie going to Golden State, but in the moment, I was like, this is all gonna fall on Russ without it needing to. That he just doesn't want to play next to this guy. I'm also like, okay, I'm a mellow guy, as you could see with the poster right there. So I understand a ball dominant scorer and can fall for that. So there's some PTSD, like as a Mets fan, like we just traded for Robinson Cano, and I don't want to pay the back half of a bad contract again. Having said that, you're right in that if it's a straight up salary dump, you at least consider it. I also just don't know the fit. RJ's not a shooter. I've never seen him succeed as a catch and shoot player. Maybe that's what you develop him into, but like the premium on trading or drafting or developing shooters then just becomes so much more mandatory if you're trading for Russ, because he's not a shooter. He's not a 3-point shooter. He's a mid-range player in an age where we're trying to move further and further away from that. I actually thought the Rockets figured something out last year with this all small ball team, because everybody was playing the perimeter, and then all he had to do is beat one guy, and then what he loves to do with finding and penetrating and kicking worked perfectly, because every time they would collapse, he'd have an open guy on the wing no matter what. I don't know if the Knicks have that just yet. Like he's penetrating and pitching to Dennis Smith Jr. and Frank, which I know it's sacrilege to say something bad about Frank Ntilikina, but he hasn't been that good a shooter his first 3 years.
No, but I think, yeah, no, I I'm not one to be a that, but only jokes, but
like
Halliburton
is what matters most to me,
Yeah. Well, you also don't know what the trade is. We also don't know what a potential trade was. We also don't know who else they can sign. We also don't know what other deals they're going to make. So we don't know what the roster is going to be. People are just assuming it's just going to be Westbrook, RJ, and Mitch. And we're like, what are we doing? We're going to shoot mid-range jumpers all day. Like, they can draft Halliburton. He could become a sniper. You know what I mean? You can draft you can sign guys. There's guys out there. You know what I mean? Like, you never know. We don't know yet. That's the thing. You know what I mean? Just to say like, oh, we're guaranteed the 8th seed, we're guaranteed the 5th seed, we're never going to win. When this happened, if they trade Russell Westbrook for nothing, virtually nothing, is not fair in my opinion. And it's to label Westbrook as a loser which is not fair either. The Rockets were in the second round last year. The Rockets, the Thunder always win 45 plus games a season, even when he had nobody, you know what I mean, in the West. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's kind of like
I don't value first round losses. Like I think
no. But I'm saying that as far as like saying he keeps losing in the first round in the West, that's hard. Like your boy Melo was losing in the first round in the West over every year, but like he was winning 50 plus games a season. It's just he just ended up like playing like the Lakers or like some crazy team in the first round. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's
your true Knick fandage comes out, Alex. There's something you said, and this is where I hate Knick fans. They're so annoying.
Oh, let me hear it. Why are we annoying?
You're true. He goes a million miles an hour, and he would be so great in the Garden. It's like, oh my God,
that's a thing. Unfortunately,
yeah.
Everybody continues to talk. Go ahead.
Here's the exciting news, Alex. Nobody's gonna be in the Garden, so what does it even matter? Like, oh, this would be great. Here's Russell Westbrook going a million miles per hour, and it's 28 people watching him. I mean, I hope I'm wrong on that front. That's a whole different discussion we don't have to get into. But point is, like, he's just such a fit for the Garden, the way he hustles. Like, only Knicks fans like players.
That's not what I'm saying, though. I'm saying that he's infectious. He could be infectious to the young players to show them how it's done. That's what I'm saying, and show them how to be competitive. Because I think like Kevin Knox is too worried about Fortnite, and like RJ Barrett and Mitchell Robinson are just having a good time, and like, we're losing, whatever. You need somebody in there who's gonna be like, guys, like get your shit together. Let's start winning some damn games. Like, like the Knicks haven't won in X amount of time. The Knicks haven't won a playoff season. Get rid of all that crap. And like, let's go. That's go ahead. I'm getting
so what's the pattern that we have with Westbrook that players that play next to him actually develop? Because we saw what happened with Oladipo and Sabonis and how bad they were during that MVP season. We haven't seen him be the take somebody under his wing type of player. We've always seen it be like, if the game's out, I'm going for getting my triple double. Like that's been like my more frustration with Russ. Like that, like you always have to concede like 10% with the players that you like. My thing with Russ is like, oh my God, he put up a great stat line. Like Thunder lose by 12. Like that's always been my thing with Russ, is that his performance and his numbers don't always lead to winning.
Okay.
That makes sense. And look at what happened in OKC this year when they brought in a 4-year older Chris Paul or whatever he is. They became a team. Like
SGA took off too.
What's that?
Like a lot of it. I think a lot of SGA taking off though had to do with the fact they had a ball distributor rather than a ball dominant point guard.
Like to me, if you had to pick between the two guys, I don't even think it's close. I think
Chris Paul is going to cost multiple firsts.
I know. I'm just saying right. No, I understand. I don't.
It's apples to apples. Sure, Chris Paul. Yeah.
Right. No. Yeah. Well, okay. All right.
That's what I'm saying.
But I mean, I don't even like that we're even having to have this discussion. Like the Knicks should be just worried about drafting some guy we've never heard of from Israel, and we can all move along. Like that's
don't
hate on Denny.
This also comes with the territory of the Knicks, though, is that they're put into every single trade rumor.
This one's real, though. This one's real.
I'm just saying, I've heard the Knicks be attached to every single name because they have cap space and because they're the Knicks, and that's the most frustrating part. Is that everybody like they're the Knicks reasoning for the Knicks doing something, like it isn't a brand new front office that's shown nothing but patience since they got here, is unbelievably frustrating.
Let me ask you this, Andrew. What baseball team you like? I have an educated guess, but which baseball team you like?
I forgot it's also a podcast. I'm a Mets fan.
Which NFL team do you like?
I'm a Jets fan.
Okay, so you like the Knicks, Mets, and Jets. Can I ask you a question? When people make fun of the Mets and the Jets, and they make fun of the stupidity that's gone on a national level, for example, everybody laughs and chimes in and makes fun of them. Oh, the Wilpons this. Oh, the Jets with Adam Gase, and we all make fun of everything. The butt fumble, whatever. We don't need to relive all the nasty memories. With the Knicks,
but thanks.
Why is there such a sensitivity when people make fun of the Knicks that Knicks fans get more sensitive than the other two teams?
So I can legitimately point to organizational incompetence with the Mets up until about a week and a half ago, because the Wilpons have been the most meddlesome owners. And that, I think, is part of the Knicks thing, is that as Knicks fans that are also Mets fans, we know what meddlesome ownership looks like. The Wilpons have had their fingers over everything for the past 20 years. And it's the reason why this team has done things backwards for so long and only made the playoffs 5 times in the last 20 years when you're a New York City franchise. The Jets, ironically have had way more success than I realized when I really think about it. Like they've made the
That's the
playoffs
last 10 years.
Well, it's like it's
last 10
literally
years, yeah.
since the butt fumble was like the beginning of the end. If you look at
Tebow was the beginning of the end.
yeah,
That
which
guy in.
that's
That was it.
the
Yeah.
same season. So
Yeah.
you know they whether it's organizational incompetence with the Jets, I'm very anti-tank as a philosophy. I don't believe in rooting for your team to lose. I think you can focus on scouting and development and get a pick in the mid-teens and nail it like what the Jazz or the Spurs or the Pacers or the Heat have consistently done. So I hate rooting for tanking, but with the Jets, I hope they go 0-32 or however many games it takes to get Adam Gase out of here because they hired the worst possible coach. With the Knicks, to answer your question, it seems as if the LOL Knicks, people go a step further when the Knicks just haven't done anything. We were told for 4 months, hey, KD and Kyrie are coming here, or at least KD is coming here. The week after the Porzingis trade, it stopped being about how bad the Porzingis trade was because Kevin Durant's coming here. Ethan Strauss's letter or article in The Athletic, the most in-tuned Warrior guy, is that he's going to the Knicks. Marcus Thompson wrote a book about Kevin Durant, and the last chapter is all about what he's going to do when he goes to the Knicks. And then when he doesn't go, the Knicks are incompetent and LOL Knicks fans when you were telling us for 4 months that he's going there. So
thank you.
How do Knicks fans get played as the joke when it really seems way more that you're setting us up for the punchline? And then when we start to listen, we're the dumb ones.
And you know, something changed, right? Between you know, all these reports that he's going to the Knicks and then all of a sudden he's on the Nets, but we don't know what changed. Something happened in between that time.
Can I? Because I don't want to turn this into like a Knicks versus Nets thing. Because we've all debated this. This is a Steve Mills thing. Like they made a trade thinking something would happen without any concrete evidence. Like I can honestly admit that like we were wrong about what Steve Mills knew and that maybe the Achilles injury didn't have much to do with it. I also think there's a lot of luck that goes into this. Kyrie Irving grew up in New Jersey and grew up a Nets fan, so he always wanted to play for the Nets. And then his best friend Kevin Durant tore his Achilles, and it made more sense for him to go to a team that was closer to winning. Like I don't know, like this all could have been luck. The Cavaliers weren't competent; they just exist an hour from where LeBron grew up. That's not that's not yay Cavs. Like the Pat Riley thing is the most frustrating thing. Like he's this god that invented basketball in Miami. No, you drafted Dwayne Wade in 2004. That's the only thing that changed. Heat culture, this myth that this great thing. Like, no, you drafted Dwayne Wade. Up until then, all you had done is lost to the Knicks in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, he also traded for Shaq, but he traded like half his team for Shaq. And
but after he drafted Dwayne Wade, like that's the thing.
Yeah.
You drafted Dwayne Wade, and all of a sudden you're a genius. Belichick, you like Tom Brady in the 6th round. You found the greatest quarterback of all time. It's a lot easier to look like a genius in that way.
And you passed on him 5 times also.
Right.
Like everybody else.
Exactly. Yeah. So like the Nets, I applaud them, but it's way less about the KD and Kyrie. It's the fact that they didn't have a 1st-round pick to their name for 4 straight seasons, and they developed Joe Harris and Karis LeVert and Spencer Dinwiddie and all these other players and Jared Allen. Yeah. So you applaud them for that and the development that they did. The winning in free agency, it all seemed more coincidental than it was like, culture, you know? At least that's from an outsider perspective. I'm not knocking the Nets here.
That's fair. Now, a lot of things came together and it worked out. And I think they jumped their expectations in their own timeline and how fast they were able to rebuild it. Because when they came together, they were like, oh my God, this is our roster and we don't have picks. How do you do this? And Sean Marks made some savvy.
And nothing to lose.
Yeah. So he did a fantastic job with that. But anyway, Andrew Claudio, check out his podcast, The Final Score. It's on Overtime Media. He's also the producer of Knicks Film School. Andrew, we appreciate you coming on, talk a little Knicks, talk a little draft, and make sure you follow him on Twitter, Andrew J. Claudio _. Get that underscore in there. Very important. We'll have to do this again, Andrew. We appreciate you coming on Bad Weather Fans.
I had a blast. This was fun. And wait, hold on, Mike. What are your baseball allegiances? I don't want this turned to totally about me. Like, are you a Yankee fan? Are you a Giant fan?
I'm a Mets fan.
Oh, so you're one of us.
Yeah, no, of course I'm a Mets fan.
Okay.
Giants, Mets, Nets. And
Okay.
He's
the
got those
Devils
giant
and
Super Bowls to
and
make him feel good.
no, I never.
Yeah.
I've seen like 3 hockey games in my life. I can't.
Okay.
But the
That's
Devils,
fair.
if I had to pick one.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wish you some success because you're a Mets fan. Then
Thank you, Andrew.
Yes.
Enjoy the basketball season, though.
Thank you.
I'm sure this should be an interesting one.